I am Adrian Halverstadt, Director of Criminal Justice at Berkeley College, and welcome to my YouTube channel. The name of this channel is The Justice Center, and the focus is on justice, setting things right, looking at how the Bible and the teachings of Christianity and the criminal justice system exist and work towards setting things right in our world today. The topic I'd like to share with you today is on the subject of what is just war. Is war ever justified? Russia's military advance on Ukraine seems to have thrust our nation into an ethical dilemma. Russian President Vladimir Putin claims that modern Ukraine is entirely the product of the Soviet era and has no independent legitimacy. Putin justifies the invasion by claiming that America's imperialism in Europe threatens his nation's security and has brainwashed people from the former Russian-held territory with empty words of democracy, eventually stealing that region away from Russia through a fixed election. So when is military aggression against a sovereign nation justified? And should the United States send arms and troops into Ukraine? Those are the questions being asked today, are they not? Today, just war theory, commonly referred to as JWT, is used by civilized nations to determine if it is ethically acceptable to go to war. JWT originated with Christian theologians Augustine and Aquinas to provide a basis for exercising ethical restraint when it comes to war. Without restraint, Aquinas argued, there is no way to tell the difference between a warrior and a barbarian. Ultimately, the decision comes down to each nation's overarching law and subsequent virtues. The United States of America is founded on the higher law of God. Our Constitution was based on the principles and precepts of the Christian Bible and maintains that all human beings are created by God to think for themselves, exercise free will, and fundamentally possess dignity and specific natural rights. Civilized nations have a moral obligation and a humanitarian call to action to establish and defend freedom at home and abroad. Freedom is the ultimate goal in just war theory, one which all of the world's history has been working towards. It is an old but not out-of-date rule of the United States to seek and support the growth of self-governed people and freedom undertakings in every nation and culture, with the ultimate purpose of ending tyranny in our world. George W. Bush said in his second inaugural address, the only force of history that can break the reign of hatred and resentment, expose the pretensions of tyrants, and reward the hopes of the decent and tolerant, is the force of human freedom. For a war to be justified, the quality of peace resulting from combat needs to exceed what would have happened had there not been a war fought. Although America has not sent troops into Ukraine at this time, our nation has engaged in the battle against Russia's aggression based upon the virtues and principles of our Constitution. Just war theory calls for reasonable options such as negotiation, diplomacy, economic sanctions to be used against an aggressor when circumstances may permit before engaging in military combat. JWT ratifies the actions of civilized nations in assuring that the sound of freedom continues to ring loudly throughout Europe. It justifies the United States and NATO increasing their military presence in the region around Ukraine. Perhaps there is no ethical dilemma for America after all. History teaches that sometimes freedom is only found on the other side of war, because barbarians seldom relent. No doubt, full-scale war is imminent should diplomacy and sanctions not put an end to Putin's insurrection against global freedom. That is, apart from divine intervention. God is bigger than Putin, and he can bring peace to this nation. Until then, America must do its part and stand for freedom and justice for all. Let's pray for God's divine intervention and for peace to come to Europe once again. Thank you.